What's up, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into the live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Today, I am out here in Pembroke Pines, which is Broward County, South Florida, which for you non-South Floridians, y'all would call this probably Miami because y'all think everything in South Florida is Miami. But we are here because Jen Pearlman is primarying Debbie Washington Schultz. There has been a good amount of drama, a lot of reason to be hopeful. And we have one of Jen's lovely volunteers here to talk about everything that's been going down from the vantage point of a volunteer for Jen's campaign. Could you let everybody know your name and you know, what you do and your age?
Well, I'm Sarah. I've been a volunteer for Jen for like a couple months now, 4 months. I'm a 16. I'm a incoming junior at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton. And I spend my time, you know,
Hold on, double back. What'd you say? 16?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're smart. Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I spend most of my time focused on criminal justice reform, police activity, and hopefully I can go to law school, so legal aid and stuff like that.
Good stuff, good stuff. I was gonna go to law school. The law school is kind of depressing when you see the court justice system. But I commend you, first of all, for one, apparently being a junior already, but two, you know, taking your time to do this. I mean, especially given everything that's going on now. I know there's some kind of inherent risk to want to get out and campaign and fight for justice, and for you to put yourself on the line to do so. Amazing. We need more people like you. Inspire your friends to come out, because Lord knows we need y'all young. I mean, we're screwed. I'm a millennial. We're screwed. So if we're screwed, y'all are extra screwed. So hope that everything does begin to work out for y'all. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. What have you seen on the ground as a volunteer as far as the odds of Jen doing very well in this election?
Before I even started phone banking, I already knew her odds were really good. You know, I've always moved around Broward County, know the area a lot, talked to a lot of my friends who are involved in politics, activism, all that stuff. Everyone hates Debbie. That's the news. Like, we've been trying to contact her. I've been trying to contact her my whole life, trying to get in contact. Letters I used to send at one point every single day, used to call, and never got a response back. Never got a response. I've organized for many big events.
Did you try being a corporation?
No.
You try that?
No, sorry. As
you try
much
being a
as
super PAC?
Yeah.
Super PAC? No?
No,
Okay.
sorry. I've tried. I will never lose my integrity. That's the number one thing for me. I do not help candidates that I don't 100% would like to affiliate with.
Good stuff. So you've seen nothing but, well, not nothing but mostly positive stuff as far as Jen's chances of winning.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm inclined to agree with you because of this recent drama that we heard take place. A young woman, or another volunteer like yourself, I believe she was 16 also, was apparently pushed by Debbie Washington Schultz and called a liar because she was speaking about the fact that she wasn't endorsed by any climate and environmental organization except for the Sierra Club. And if you don't know, Sierra Club is not a good thing. So basically, if you're endorsed by the Sierra Club, you're the one that people should not be voting for if they care about climate change. So can you give us some details about anyway, details about just what took place and you know, based off of the grapevine of Jen's campaign, and has there been any ramifications for Debbie because of that?
So, you know, we here in the group chat, we've been working polls every single day, early voting, and she's working one of those polls. And this girl, she's a climate activist, so her thing is climate. Just for the thing of doing, and that's kind of doing it. So when Debbie obviously was there, we don't stop campaigning, because this is what we do best. This is what we do. And, you know, if we're up against Debbie, she's very unlikable.
Yeah.
Can they hear us? Okay, we're good.
I think you're good, yeah. Or not.
This is real South Florida thing.
Yeah, you just gotta roll with the punches.
So
But can they hear us though? Ask them, can they hear us? Or check to see. You can see the comments in there.
yeah, no, they're not. There's no comment.
Okay. I think
But
we're good.
go for it.
Okay, now we're good. Sorry.
Yeah,
Continue.
so she was talking specifically about Debbie's donations, which she gets money from Big Sugar, which is a big thing in South Florida.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of our best pitches. It's a thing that really gets the community going because we are have the coastal part some in our district. The big sugar companies in Lake Okeechobee, and they damage the blue-green algae, our aquifer system. Like, we don't know what's going to come first. We're underwater or we don't have drinking water. That's the big dilemma in Florida.
Our Republican governor has been better on the environment than DWS and Schultz has. And
Definitely.
that's saying something. That's because I'm not a fan of Ron DeSantis. I got a lot of problems with him. But if you can't be better than the quote-unquote Republican who's in power right now, how can I one, if you're a Democrat, why would you even want to put this person on your ledger? And two, how am I supposed to expect you to do anything different when I'm not looking? Because obviously she goes to DC to do all of her legislative work, and it seems like she might as well be a Republican or even worse.
Yes. So when our candidate, our volunteer was talking, as we do, we hand out palm cards, and Debbie felt the need to shove the volunteer and call her a liar, as if all of this stuff isn't public record. Obviously, you know how that's not how they act. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Everything's out in the open. So obviously, she's taking advantage of the fact that voters normally don't do in-depth research and don't have.
Debbie will lie. I mean, I've seen Debbie literally lie on her website.
Yeah, she has. She will continue to lie to your face. It doesn't matter in this situation. Nonetheless, obviously, this girl looks like a minor, so this is obviously intentional. She doesn't think it's going to have any repercussions. So our volunteer posted a video on social media, and you know how social media goes. Let the thing go viral. And then we know that the big news outlets like the Sun Sentinel endorsed Debbie, so we have to find outlets to actually, see who will take our story. Some small newspaper took it, and we've been trying to get out the story. We're trying to run an honest campaign here, and honestly, that's just one of the many things. I got my own lawn sign stolen. We've gotten our lawn signs all over. That's the biggest thing that we have. We have our lawn signs stolen all the time. We got
Jen?
Yeah, Jen's head has got cut off a lawn sign. We made a tweet about that also in our campaign.
That's okay. Debbie's office called my office that I was at to threaten me and my colleagues. So,
yeah, as there was
used a voice changer, but didn't block the number.
Yeah. As we were talking about, our volunteers, they had witnessed when this occurred, but they don't want to step forward because obviously Debbie is a scary person. Not only is she a really powerful congresswoman and doing really bad things, as you mentioned earlier, would I put myself on a risk? I'm putting myself at risk if I don't go out here every day for Jen.
Yeah.
The reason I support Jen is because my life is on the line in every issue she supports, almost everything. I'm come from a family in poverty, still in poverty, and I'm still doing this. This is just my life I live. And so it puts me more at risk to stay home and not campaign for Jen every single day that I can.
I 100% agree. That's why I do this. I came from a very similar background as far as being impoverished. And, I had an option actually when I became an adult after I did find a little bit of security, which was, do I chase capitalism or do I make sure that other people have opportunities that I've been lucky enough to get, because I'm literally against all odds. I think that should be everyone's goal, right? I tell people my motto now is don't vote like your life depends on it, vote like someone else's. And if everybody had that mindset when it comes to voting or when it comes to being an activist, when it comes to fighting for these issues, and making your own life decisions, we would have, the world would be a lot more different. If more people started at 15, 16 like you did, we might be able to get something done. So now, election integrity has been a major issue in this district. I'm not sure. Have you kept up with any?
Yes, I've been keeping up with the race since obviously I've been working on campaigns since Bernie 2015.
Oh, so you've seen all of them.
So Tim Canovan, we obviously know the notorious court case that settled with the 11,000 destroyed ballots. That's actually been my biggest concern. I have nothing but faith in the constituents of District 23. We know the ground. We talked in multiple languages. We talked in English. We talk in Spanish as well. Hola mi gente. If anyone speaks Spanish. We've been there. We've been talking in every language. We changed our sites to also have Spanish. We want it accessible to everyone as we can. To all our folks that speak Creole and everything. We try the most that we can. Election integrity is the thing that is making me nervous for tonight. I don't know. We've been trying to get the videotapes after every, polling place closed. That's what me and Gloria have been doing. This is when know that District 23 is on Jen's side, but we don't know if we can trust the systems in place. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, I know. But here's the thing. I know it's what some people use that as an excuse to not go out and vote, right? And I think that's like the worst possible thing you can do because of what you just mentioned. If those 11,000 people didn't get up and go vote for Tim Canova, those 11,000 ballots would have never been destroyed. Those 11,000 ballots never get destroyed, then the attention doesn't get brought on to Brenda Snipes, and then what happens? You know, maybe DWS shows like actually won at that point, so there was no need to destroy the ballots. We don't know, but we'll never be able to audit or find answers if you don't have the accountability aspect, and the accountability on our individual accountability relies on getting out and going to vote. So I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm honestly, I don't ever meet young people who are really concerned with election integrity. We were just talking about Glory. All y'all know Glory already. Glory's probably the most popular non-journalist in the independent journalist community at this point, so in case you didn't know. But, you know, there's not a lot of young people that talk about that, but I guess being raised in District 23, you live life a little bit different out here politically. It's the wild, wild west out here, people. So the last thing, what for you is your favorite policy that Jen puts forward?
You know, it's one that I don't know that much to advocate for, but I know it's the one that my life depends on. It's the Green New Deal. A lot of young people and a lot of my friends are climate activists. Like, we're not going to have a future, and it's something that affects areas that are very low income, and it's something that we don't have time to think about. We don't have time to think about. Like, we normally don't think about the future, and I encourage a lot of people and try to educate low income people of climate change, because it's something we can't stop and think about something that's going to happen 10 years if you don't have food on your table the next day, if you don't have a roof over your head, if you don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah,
so
and I would say the environment too, like, because that's, you know, a lot of people focus on climate change, and they, not to say that you are doing, I know you're saying climate environments, but when people focus on climate change, they try to use climate change and they go, we don't know, it's too far away, it's too this, it's too that. Okay, cool, so let's just say that's the environment. Like, most of the things that positively affect climate change positively impact the environment, and we know that when we had COVID for like 3 months with nothing going on, the earth just began repairing itself. Miami was having its dolphins and even sharks flying back, you know, coming back in where the cruise ships used to take off from. 3 months. Imagine if we fought all the time. And that's really what it comes down to. And we really don't have time to wait. I love Jen's stance on the Green New Deal, on climate change and environmental justice. Now, I will admit, I'm not all that big of a fan of the Green New Deal because it's too incomplete. But definitely. I get what you mean. You mean just the idea of really the comprehensive plan to address it, to sign up, to just guarantee
Accountability.
The accountability, and to guarantee that when they get in office, this is going to be the first and second, well, actually probably second and third, because the first will be the first part of everybody. So now, I'm going to ask you something that doesn't happen. This election. There's been a lot of talk over, that I know you are familiar with election issue. There's been a lot of talk over this USPS stuff and mail-in ballots and all that type of corruption that Trump saying he's trying to do the election. How does that make you feel as a person of District 23, as an alumna of the Bernie 2015 campaign, and so I'm assuming you campaigned from a little bit at least from 2010 to 2020.
Absolutely.
How did it feel to you to see the Dems all of a sudden concerned about election integrity now, when we would call it out, when we would bring it up, even with the official court documents like the one you mentioned, we would consider conspiracy. How do you feel about that?
I always say the truth always comes out. The truth always comes out, and people want to use it when it's more convenient. I say the authenticity of the Democrats is astonishing, ironic. I'd say that they better count their blessings, because when they don't accept people like Bernie in the party, when they don't accept people in that care about election integrity, if they don't have candidates, we're not going to have a fair and free democracy.
Yeah.
That's it. We are in a point. People talk about like every election is when our rights are going to be lost. Our rights have been degraded. Our civil liberties. I mean, that's why the ACLU has been so active with Obama and everything. I really love the ACLU. Really, American Civil Liberties Union, great organization. I think the civil liberties are one of the most important things and one of the best things in this country. As a children of immigrants, as a child of immigrants, it's something super important to me. And in a lot of those countries, we don't have election integrity. We get our candidates chosen from them. And to go here and see a system that's worse than in my home country.
Well, considering that we probably rigged your elections,
Yeah.
I guess you shouldn't be surprised that it's happening here too.
Yeah. So
It's the American way. Rigging elections is literally the American way.
Yeah, because what America's doing here in the United States is what it has been doing in every other democratically elected official in every other country. I'm saying this is the same thing with the pandemic. I say people in poverty have been living this. I don't know where my job is. This the whole entire time.
You lose your job over anything,
Anywhere. The formerly incarcerated people. I have a lot of family that's formerly incarcerated. They've been living this whole entire life. We already know what this is. People of color, black folk, Hispanic folk, Latinx. We've already been living this whole entire time. So election integrity is something that we fight for our lives. We want our voices heard. We did not fight so goddamn hard for our right to vote to have it cheapened or panderized by Democrats, and that's what I'm feeling. But they better not complain when they realize that you can't just be loyalist to some party that's not gonna fight for the issue.
So you're not happy about a second baseman being president?
No, I'm not happy, and I'm not happy with a cop VP either. As a big advocate, you know, I'm barely starting out my degree, and I already feel like I think I could do Kamala's job a little bit better. Probably.
All you have to do is just not be xenophobic, race baiting, marijuana hating, racist. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, despite popular belief, black people can't actually be racist against other black people. Yeah, you can't. So it's like white against black against white. It's like black people react to the system of white oppression. You can be discriminatory, you can be prejudicial, but you can be black against black because you are buying into the patriarchy and using that to crush your fellow black. It's not reverse racism for those of you.
Yeah, please. I mean, we can see that with NYPD. NYPD cops, 50% of the force is black, and we're still having one of the most corrupt systems there. And that's what I like to talk about. It's about systematic racism, but doesn't mean that perpetuates of the systematic racism cannot also be there. Like, this is one of the big talking points that I talk about when I talk about my criminal justice reform, criminal justice, and some aspects abolition. When it comes to our
when they get pregnant, sexism and other women.
Yeah, all these issues are interconnected, and that's what the Democratic Party loses. The interconnected issues, and that's why I always vote for progressive, for leftists, for true candidates, for honest candidates. And that's something, you know, I look at and see any candidate, and they're honest. No corporate money. That's what you get.
I have to admit, I do greatly appreciate the intersectionality of Jim's campaign. And what I mean by that, for those of you who don't know, campaigns that are ran by anybody, let alone a campaign of a white politician, what generally happens is the people of color get tokenized and then they get pushed to the back. And they're not really put in any significant role where they can affect any positive or negative change, where you can take those experiences and have the campaign use those experiences to their advantage. Jen's campaign seems to be very, very similar to what Supernova did in 2018 and 2016. It's very intersectional. I mean, people from all different backgrounds. I mean, people from all different ethnicities and races, and even different ages. Now, is my sense correct? Is that what you did too?
Absolutely. I've worked on a multitude of progressive campaigns a lot in this season. I worked for some candidates, not some good results, obviously under political dynasties and other atrocious centrist Democrats establishment puppets. And this campaign, something about it is different. Not just because I'm from District 23, even though I love Broward 954 all my life. But there's something different about Jen. I think it's the term limits. I think it's her background as a pro bono attorney. And I think it's her as a person. And I think it's the people that make up her campaign. Every time you talk to Jen, she's like, me? Like, no. Like, come on, it's us. Just like Bernie said, it's not me, it's us. You know, it's that same spirit. And I feel like she doesn't even think about how much she's giving a voice to us. But she is. Like, literally, we are all, every single one of us are leaders. When I was canvassing in the greatest century village a couple of times, they needed Spanish, and I spoke Spanish, and I could take charge, and they wanted me to do a script, and I was like, you got it. And, you know, I've been canvassing for a short time, and they were like, you got this. And they really want us to connect, and they really want to hear what you have to say. They listen, not just like audibly hearing.
Got you. So I have one more question for you. I'm gonna let you go. Now this is a little bit more controversial now. So this is the day of the election. Jen has gotten a lot of great endorsements, but there are a few key endorsements that I think that a lot of us were kind of expecting her to get. Bernie didn't endorse Jen, unfortunately. He got it this morning while he had to remind him in case he got himself that Jen is running the because he thought this was a new and he talked about two other candidates that did not mention Jim Crow. Unfortunately, AOC did not endorse Jim Crow. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone in the squad is. And my issue is this woman is responsible. Well, one of the main ones responsible for rigging the outcome of an election that really could have changed the course of history.
A little louder, babe.
Huh?
A little louder.
Oh yeah. So she's responsible for rigging an election that could have changed the outcome of history. There is potentially no George Floyd incident that gets dealt with in the way that it's been dealt with. Ferguson president. There's the potentiality that we get a Tulsi Gabbard Secretary of State, so we don't have the unjustified rocket launches on Syria, the genocide that's happening in Yemen, the Israel-Palestine issue that we're dealing with right now, where Netanyahu is trying to take over the West Bank completely. Like, it just changed the outcome of history. So if you are one of the squad members, if you are Bernie Sanders, if you are any of these people, now I know she got Nina Turner. Shout out to Auntie Nina.
Yes.
Shout out to Auntie Nina if you're watching. But I know she got Nina Turner. But do you feel any type of way about Jen not getting those endorsements? And do you feel like there may be some progressives in Washington that are playing a little bit too much politics and maybe losing sight of what they originally went there for?
Yes, I agree, and that happened with my other campaign I was on. I was racing on a campaign in Michigan's 12th district, Solomon Rajput, and we were running against an 85-year-old political dynasty, and we couldn't even get the Muslim Progressive Caucus to endorse us as a Muslim Pakistani immigrant with a white woman running against us. And I do feel some type of way. It's this whole issue of decorum and politics in this game. You know, as young people, I hear a lot. You know, you don't understand politics. I mean, Debbie has said that to some of our volunteers that have talked to her. She said, you don't understand it.
Well, that's okay. I'm technically in politics. I'm still young, so I still hear. I hear it too. I have my own show.
Even though
that's a good thing, though.
I might have a little more education than some, you don't get it. It's just politics. This is for the grown folk.
A little bit.
The grown folk. It's true. It is really saddening, but the thing I do say is that we can hold them accountable.
Absolutely.
That's the difference with all these other pandering Democrats, and I am very weary, and I will speak clearly. It is very ashaming. It's very sad. Sorry, my English is my second language, so it's very sad, it's very disheartening, and it feels, a little defeated, but I feel there's something in these candidates. We've been getting so many losses and so many hurt, and we've been taken for granted too long that I see it, but it's still not okay. Mm-hmm. It's still not okay that a lot of down ballot progressives are running real good progressives. I'm not going to say just because someone's progressive does not mean that they're a good person.
That is 100% true.
And that is okay to say. That shouldn't take a whole movement. I mean, when we misrepresent Black Lives Matter person just because there's some bad person in the movement. Like, this is what, obviously they're going to use it. They don't like us anyway, so we shouldn't have to listen to that. We can hold our people accountable. That's something that other people can't do.
She gets it. How come y'all can't get it, bruh? They don't like us anyway. Bernie, did you hear that? They don't like you.
Yeah,
don't listen to them.
I would say this when Obama was in his presidency, he got a supermajority. 0 Republicans voted for the Affordable Care Act, so I will never forgive him for not passing some sort of single care.
Yeah, when he had a supermajority.
So they don't like us. You
could have used all that popularity in your favor.
He could do it. It's about political will. Yeah. It's about political will, and it's about that Pelosi and all the people in Congress, they compromise and the compromise. And that is what Democrats, the biggest ones, obviously we know Debbie Wasserman Schultz runs Democrats in Florida. And whatever happens with this election.
Even some Republicans.
Yeah, she's got them whipped.
They were scared.
We have forever changed, because I know she's losing sleep. She's going crazy. As we can see, she's been doing some very sketchy things.
She doesn't have Brenda Snipes there anymore. I'm assuming the new person doesn't want to lose their job.
Yeah. Obviously, we're here. We're literally working 24/7. We've been talking to people. We've been hearing the people and their cries and their pleas. We've been hearing them. If Jen doesn't win, just know we did everything, and that's all we can say. And we can say she lost the election.
Now, so do you think that if she doesn't win, there is some shady behavior taking place? And this is something that people have been wanting to see for more progressive. Do you think they should challenge Debbie Wasserman Schultz in whatever way? Because we saw what happened with Niko, right? Basically, you don't destroy it. That's further 11,000 is a very, very specific number. And you don't destroy ballots that are giving you the results you want. That would be counterintuitive. So it is highly likely that Tim Canova won the race, right? I think that could be probably a logical conclusion. Also, we don't even know if Bernie might not even won, right?
Yeah, we know because
you throw entire ballots away. You don't throw one ballot, a ballot with one person's name on it.
Yeah.
So
no, we know that. We know that when it comes to our campaigning, we know our areas that support Bernie, and we know there are areas where the bills were thrown away.
Exactly.
We know.
Exactly. So do you think that Jen will try and challenge this race if the results were too shady?
I don't know about Jen, but we sure as hell are. Every single volunteer, we're not going to let this drop. I wasn't super involved with Tim Canova in his race as I was with Bernie. I don't know about how.
We're going on simultaneously, right? So
yeah. So I was also very young. I was like 10 or 11.
Wow, man, that made me feel old. You say you were 16 and saw that bad. It was like 5 years ago. I'm like, what do you mean 10? Oh yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's funny. So that's good stuff. I'm saying, so I'm very, it's very encouraging because so my supporters generally know about election integrity because we cover that a lot here. And but a lot of people I talk to, I mean people that are very familiar with politics, actually are very, very popular, they have no idea about election integrity. And if I ever bring up election integrity, if they're maybe a Democrat or a leftist, they actually believe that it's only done by the Republican Party. And it's funny because whenever it comes to hurting the people, when has there only ever been a consensus in one party and not both? Right? So of course if it's bad, it's probably both parties engaged. So it's very encouraging to know that young people like yourself and others are actually paying attention to the fact that it's more than just casting a vote, casting a ballot. It's even more than merely volunteering. It's more than being the best on the issue. You have to protect the integrity of the process, and the only way you can start protecting the integrity of the process is to speak on it and acknowledge that there is a problem. So thank you so much for this interview. For everybody who tuned in, thank you all so much for tuning into this segment of Mikasa and Sukasa. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.